the Fighting Stetson Bennett's. If that guy gets behind this weekend against this Florida team, there's nothing they're going to be able to do. They can't. They're not built for a comeback. Let's get into that game. This is such a big game. This is quite literally a playoff game because the loser of this game, barring any kind of major upset, and I'd have to refresh myself on the schedules of Georgia and Florida after this game. But as far as I can remember, this is like the last major test for either team. Pretty sure the winner's making it to the SEC championship, and the loser is eliminated for the most part. Well, the loser's definitely eliminated from the playoff. But Wilson, why don't you kick it off for us? Tell us a little bit about what we might expect to see from this matchup.
Well, first thing is Florida, Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. I have Kyle Pitts on my fantasy team. Matt Myers knows about him first week, but their offense is just fantastic. They have Kadarius Toney. Their passing game is just incredible. Georgia last week against Kentucky, their defense played well, but it came at a cost. I think they've lost like 5 starters. I don't know how many are going to be playing, but they're really banged up on their defense. And that's what they really hang their hat on. So it's certainly not their offense. Georgia's offense is just bad. They can run the ball well. They got some good running backs, but it's going to be tough. I don't know if Georgia can slow down Florida enough to win the game. I think that if it's a lower scoring game, Georgia will win, but if it's a shootout, Florida's definitely going to win. Looking at the coaching, Mullen's offenses have played well, but the thing is they've struggled against Kirby Smart. I think Kirby has held them. I don't think Mullen's ever gotten 300 yards against him. I think it's going to change this week. If Mullen loses this year to Georgia, I think there's going to start to be a lot of questions about him. He hasn't done it yet, and I think that going, what would it be, 0-3 against Georgia and Kirby Smart, there's going to be a lot of pissed off Florida fans. And I think, I'll wait to do my prediction after everyone gives their thoughts. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, Connor, your thoughts on the matchup?
It's kind of what y'all have been saying so far. I'm not the biggest Stetson Bennett fan. I don't think he's that talented or
Neither are Georgia fans.
Yeah. I think, like, honestly, the only reason that I think that, like, he is still starting is Daniels is not fully healthy yet, and they're just trying to wait for that. And just, like, his whole story is just so, like, I guess, inspiring for Georgia that, like, they want him to, like, stay. Like, he was the walk-on who couldn't get a scholarship, left, finally got the scholarship, and is now starting. Like, that's like from rags to riches, and I think that's part of why he's still starting. Their defense is good, but I honestly think that Florida gets it done. I just don't have that much faith in Georgia.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I remember last year saying the same thing. Like, Georgia just doesn't have the offense now that Florida's getting it going with Kyle Trask. And it feels a lot like last year, but I don't know. This year, like, Jake Fromm limited that offense, but Stetson Bennett, like, super limits that offense. It's kind of incredible that Georgia, who, like, bags all these 5 stars every year, and the number 1 class year after year, and then they have that guy as their quarterback. It's kind of sad. Like, I feel for Georgia fans, like, but when it comes down to it, I'm actually more interested to see how Georgia's defense looks, because this is a big game for Georgia. Like, they showed some signs of progress against Missouri defensively, and Georgia's not a world beater on offense, so I think this is another chance for Florida's defense to take a step and keep gathering that momentum and improving. But if they allow Georgia and Zamir White and that O-line to just grind it out, and just sustain long drives, and it's going to be more of the same of the last 2 years of Georgia winning in just, like, kind of boring fashion. So I think it'll come down definitely to Florida's defense before looking at Florida's offense. Because, I mean, if Georgia's doing ball control, you don't get the chances to get Kyle Trask and Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts the ball. So I'm more interested in that. So we'll see. I think Georgia's defense, I know they're down some men. I still expect them to be playing. They got 5 stars everywhere, so I expect Georgia's defense to come out early and send a message. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not gonna give my prediction yet.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Real quick. Sorry. Does Florida still have anyone out from like the COVID thing, or has everyone made like that return?
I think they might have a few. They're missing some guys in the first half on defense, on the defensive line. I think for fights.
Yeah.
Which I think could hurt them because Georgia's offensive line is good and their running backs are good. So that's something to watch for sure.
Yeah. But no one else is out because of COVID.
I don't think so. No.
So they're not gonna be missing one. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So Georgia does have a really, really good offensive line. But there's something about this game. Like, I just don't have that much faith in Stetson Bennett in Florida or in Georgia. My bad. I think Florida wins, and I think they do it by I think they do it by 2 touchdowns.
Give us your prediction. What's the final score?
I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna say 17-28, something like that.
Okay.
17-28.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be impressed if Georgia got to 17. No, I'm just kidding. No, let me tell you about Stetson Bennett. I can't believe he's their quarterback. It just looks comical seeing him out there. He looks kind of ridiculous. His head looks too big over on his shoulders. He just looks goofy out there. And that's exactly what he's been hearing all week. He's been hearing how stupid he looks, how he doesn't belong in Georgia, how he shouldn't be a Power 5 quarterback, let alone a college quarterback. That's all he hears. And you know what Stetson Bennett's doing? He's just writing it in his little diary. He's taking names. Little Stetson Bennett is at home in his crib right now. He's just laying down. The little rockets are going over his head, and he's just in there taking names. Everyone who said he looked funny. Everyone who said his head's too big for his body and his eyes are a little bit buggy. But I think he's going to kick some ass on Saturday. I think we're going to see Stetson Bennett throw for over 250. I think we're going to see him gunslinging out there. I think he's actually going to get the ball over the line. I think Stetson Bennett, I think he hits puberty this weekend, guys. I think it's time. I think this is the Stetson Bennett show, and I think he's going to exploit that Florida defense who hasn't really done anything this year. I was looking into the Florida defense. They just give up points, man. I mean, every game seems like it has been a great performance. Every game. And I saw the Texas A&M Florida game live. I was really into that game. Their defense just looks a little skeletal. They're like a little skinnier, a little less physical. They just don't look super impressive. And I just think that Georgia's athletes and then the wrath of Stetson, I think this is all going to just – I think Stetson Bennett's going to take over this game. And I predict Georgia to win. I predict Georgia to have an offensive explosion led by the child, Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call him, Stetson Bennett. And I think Georgia wins this game 35-28.
Drew thinks Bennett's going to play like he's 6'3", not 5'8".
I think he's going to hit a growth spurt this weekend, guys. I really do.
I could see it.
Give us your
I'll
prediction.
give you my prediction. The thing is, Andrew, it's not that Stetson is like a bad quarterback. He's physically limited. He can't get the ball over the defensive line. So I don't know. I've been going back and forth in this game all week. On one hand, you have Dan Mullen, who's desperate for a win against Georgia. And then you have Kirby Smart and Stetson Bennett, UGA. They've been told how shit they looked against Kentucky and how their offense is a joke, which was kind of the story last year, and they found a way to win. I was leaning Florida most this week, but you kind of got me thinking. Georgia's offensive line, I think the 5-star running backs will get enough. I think Florida's defense is still very questionable. Their D line's a little undersized, and I think Georgia's offensive line is very big and talented. I think Georgia is going to run the ball very well. They're going to play ball control. Stetson will do enough. He's not going to go off, but I think he's going to do enough, and Georgia will win an ugly, ugly game, like 27-20.
You said Georgia?
Yeah, I was picking Florida pretty much this entire week, but the more I was thinking about Georgia's offensive line and Florida's defense, Florida doesn't really stop the pass or stop the run that well. They don't really do anything well, and they're missing the athletes that they've used to have in the past. I think Georgia's going to find a way to win an ugly game, but it's not going to matter when they go to the SEC championship against Alabama.
Yeah. It's not going to matter. And you're right. I just, that offensive line could just plow through that entire defense if they wanted to. I remember at the A&M game, there was a lot of big plays in the first half, a lot of big passing plays that A&M was scoring with. And then come the third quarter, they just decided to start running it up the gut. And at that point, the game completely changed. I mean, the A&M offensive line just took over the game. We have one of the better offensive lines in the country, but so does Georgia. Georgia's is probably better than ours. So I can just see them just absolutely tearing this Florida defense to shreds. Wilson, do you have something else to say?
Yeah, well, another thing to keep in mind is A&M can pass the ball, which Georgia does not seem to be able to do consistently.
That's true. The threat of the pass means something, yes.
A&M can pass better than Georgia, but I do think Georgia's offensive line might be better than A&M's. I think Florida's just going to get worn down throughout the game. I think Florida will be winning at half, but I don't think they can sustain keeping Georgia's offensive line and their running backs in check. And they're going to play ball control and win.
It's funny because I've had Florida all week too, and I'm now having the same line of thought you're having with just the physicality of that O-line versus that defense. Matt, your thoughts?
Y'all boys are ridiculous. All right. As soon as that line came out on Sunday, I bet the house, my whole entire Bovada account, on
all $2.
Yeah, all $2 on Florida. Not even plus 4.5. I took a money line. This is how it's going to go down. You just have to, when you look at this game, you don't need to overthink it. Georgia's offense is bad. Florida's defense is bad. So what it comes down to is Stetson Bennett, who looks like he's in The Hobbit, or Kyle Trask, a 6'5" white man going to the NFL with just like stud receivers around him. It's gonna be a little rock fight in the first quarter, and I'm sure that's definitely what Georgia wants. But once Kyle Trask gets on the board with Kyle Pitts and they get like that first touchdown or two, I think it'll quickly become apparent, like it was in the Bama game, that they just can't hang with these offenses, even no matter how hard Nakobe Dean and Georgia's defense play. So I expect a close game in the first half, but second half I expect, just like Bama, Florida to just pull away and then end up winning by a few scores. And then after the game, all these Georgia fans, fire Kirby, fire Kirby. And I expect an Uncle Lou video of him being very upset. But you know what? I was saying the same thing last year, but I'm doubling down. Florida's going to beat Georgia, go to the SEC title, and then give Bama a good run for their money.
Yep, offense goes a long way. Connor, I want you to do something for me. Give me the ideal Stetson Bennett. Break that down for me. What are we seeing if Stetson Bennett is throwing for 250-plus yards, leading this team in the air? Connor, what's that look like?
Well, I mean, that's going to look like the Georgia offensive line blocking for him real well, right? Stetson Bennett's going to run over to the sideline. He's going to pick up a little step stool. He's going to put that out, fold it out. He's gonna find his right receiver and he's going to throw it to him. And that's what that's going to look like.
I didn't expect that. I was more expecting a piggyback on the center, but that works too. Step stool's good.
I'm going to add one thing to it.
What's that?
I see it kind of similar to like the Notre Dame game. It's basically like Notre Dame, Georgia can't fall behind. They cannot have to rely on the pass. If they get down like 14-0, first quarter or like midway the second quarter and they have to throw, they're in trouble.
For sure.
They're going to have to rely on the run. I don't agree that Stetson's going to throw for 250. He's going to have to be he doesn't have to do that. He has to be a Jake Fromm game manager. Game Fromm.
That's
The
his
Game
name.
Fromm?
That's his nickname.
Game Fromm. I like that name. No, he's going to have to be a Game Fromm kind of manager. Can't turn the ball over.
You did it.
A Jake Fromm game manager.
No, he's
is
Game
what you
Fromm
mean to
now.
say. Oh, he's Game Fromm. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay, Game From. That's his
Game
actual
From.
nickname. It's
Game
little
Fromm,
Game
the manager.
It's little
Yeah.
Game From, the manager.
Yeah.
Who's this game more important for? I mean, in the big picture of things.
Well,
Matt or
Florida.
either of y'all take it. Who's this
Florida.
game more important for?
Florida, because they have the potential to go win playoff games with that offense. And Georgia's in a down year with no quarterback. This is an opportune moment for Florida to just pass up that defense some and then go challenge for the SEC title with that, because they can score with anybody. So they might be able to outscore Bama on a certain Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it's bigger for Florida just because they haven't beaten Georgia in a few years. And I think most Georgia fans, and Georgia has pretty much even if they win this game, they're not winning anything because their offense and quarterback is a joke. They're probably just holding out hope for next year. But, yeah, it's going to be Florida. That's who the game matters to most.
Yeah. Yeah, I dog on
That's-
Stetson Bennett, but, another scenario aside from Kirby not knowing what the hell he's doing is that he's the best option, that the other quarterbacks aren't showing out, that he is their only viable option at this time, and that Georgia fans should be grateful to have the services of Stetson Bennett on their side. Because if it wasn't Stetson Bennett, you'd have DeJuan Mathis, and he sucks, apparently. I mean, just hypothetically sucks. And then
He sucks.
Hypothetically sucks.
I'm just assuming that JT Daniels isn't ready to go. I have a hard time believing that Stetson Bennett could be better than JT Daniels. JT Daniels was, I think, the third quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence and Justin Field in the 2018 recruiting class.
it's
Yeah.
pretty insane. And this is what I heard, that he's on the practice squad right now. I don't know if that's true.
He must be hurt, or Kirby Smart just must be one of the worst quarterback decision makers.
Well, you know what?
Or he's brain dead and can't understand the offense.
I don't know, but
That's
Yeah,
why I
Justin
said brain
Fields.
dead. 'cause
Stetson
it's
Bennett's
Georgia.
brain is physically smaller, and he can understand it. So I
Yeah.
don't buy into it.
I feel.
It's going to be a good game. Stetson Bennett's going off, though.
I don't think so, but I respect your decision.
The 8th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, the number 6 Gators of Florida, and half orange and blue, half red and black, just like it's always been since 1892.